Well, good afternoon, adventurers. This is Lowell's Fishing Adventures in the greenhouse. It's the 10th of May, and I'm just making a short video to see how we'll go week by week. On this shelf here, we've got some homegrown tomato seeds, which were actually grown by slicing Ying's favourite tomatoes up and putting slices of them in these pots. That was a bought one there. These were slices of her favourite tomato, as were they, coming up very nicely. They were from slices of plum tomato that she likes, and these were seeds out of other tomatoes. That's a bought one there. In here I've got cucumbers which haven't started just yet, but they will be up in the next few days. And in here, if you look very carefully, I've got basil just starting to pop its head through there. There's 3 lines of them, they're just starting to come through now. Then I shall take you outside to see what's going on there. It's only a small greenhouse, this 8 by 6, made of plastic. It does waft a bit in the wind, but does the job. Now these are last year's strawberry runners, which are planted up in car wheels because they're rather good for growing 3 or 4 strawberry plants together. That was mint that I started off last year. Loads of that. Smells lovely. These are all strawberry runners from last year. And here I've got rocket, Ying's favourite lettuce. I've got 3 trays of that coming on. I've got other lettuces in these. Now all the soil fell out in the greenhouse in a bad wind, so they're all mixed up and not planted very well. And these are all various lettuce, which are coming along quite nicely. There's lots of different varieties, loads of them. So week by week we'll see how these go. It's quite exciting really. On the other side of the yard I have my strawberry planter, which is full of strawberries, and hopefully these are 2nd year strawberries, so I think by the end of this year we'll be eating strawberries and cream every day. Some of them are flowering already, and the weeds are starting to grow already as well, so you've got to keep on top of them. But there's lots of them and they're looking very healthy. So I'll come back on the 17th of May and see how they've come on. Well, Wednesday the 17th now, another week's gone by. Tomato plants are starting to come on a bit better, particularly these ones in the corner and those ones. My cucumbers have started to come up, although a little bit slowly. And I've got the basil covered up because it looks like it's going to be a slow starter. Strawberries are doing well, as is the mint. And over here, what was rocket in these ones here, I've transplanted all of those into bigger pots. So I've got about 36 of those grown, and the multicoloured lettuces are coming on very well too. They are starting to really come away. Typical. Watered them yesterday, and after I watered them it rained. And the big strawberry bed over here, they're all flowering now everywhere. So I think we'll have a decent crop of strawberries this year when they come through. And that's about it for this week. We'll see what happens next week. Bye for now. Well, week 3, is it week 3 or week 4? Things are starting to come on in the greenhouse. Patio tomatoes grown well. I was going to pot up a few cucumbers today, and I've only ended up with 2 because last night something got me other two and ate all the tops off. Don't know what that was, a slug or a snail, but I've put salt around them now. They'll not come up and bite that with salt on. These are odd tomatoes just starting to come through. Patio tomatoes, growing really well in the pots. And there are tomatoes on the back there as well. Outside, strawberries are doing well, all in flower. Means plenty strawberries later this year. A few more strawberries over there. The mint's doing well as well. And then this is rocket that I planted just a few days ago. That's all coming up. And these are all mixed lettuces all the way along the back, and then rocket along the front, because Ying likes a rocket. So for this week, stuff's going quite well. See what happens by next week. Might have a tomato or two. Well guys, this is week 5. I've had a bit of a swap round in the greenhouse. Planted a few more lettuce seeds which haven't come up yet. It's the 31st of May today. These little tomato plants that I've grown from seed are starting to come on quite well. That, I think, is a chilli that I planted from seed. These tomato plants are coming on nicely now, starting to flower a little bit, as is that one. The cucumbers are starting to take hold well, and these two patio tomatoes here are doing really well. I need to get a little paintbrush to pollinate these flowers so we'll get lots of little tomatoes. And outside, apart from the aubrietia looking rather beautiful, it's the little rocket coming on. That's the 3rd batch of rocket. They are patio tomatoes that I'm trying outside. Haven't flowered yet, but it's a little bit cool outside, so we need a bit more heat. The mixed lettuces are coming on really well. For the size of them now, they're nearly big enough to eat, some of them. And these are all the 1st and 2nd week rocket. And then the 3rd week rocket. There's going to be no shortage of rocket this year. Moving across to the strawberries. The strawberries now are just starting to show little strawberries coming out under the flowers. There's quite a few, lots of strawberries on that one. A lot of them still flower, and every flower is going to be a strawberry, so we're going to have a strawberry feast this year. Lots of little strawberries on there, look, just starting to grow, and there. So there you go, week 5. Roll on. It's June the 7th now. This is the 5th week, because I made a mistake last week. And as you can see, a few little lettuces coming through. Tomato plants growing well. That chilli is starting to grow. These tomato plants are starting to flower and starting to grow up the sticks nicely. The cucumbers have come away a little bit better than they were. They are just starting to grow. No flowers yet. These tomatoes are really flowering nicely. I've been tickling them all with a paintbrush to get them pollinated. These are bush tomatoes, so I'm expecting lots and lots of tomatoes from them this year. Outside, the aubrietia is looking splendid. Those tomatoes in the pots over there are doing well. These are the lettuces I planted 2 weeks ago, starting to come on well. Outside tomato plants are just starting to show signs of flower buds, a little bit later than the ones in the greenhouse. And these lettuces have come on tremendously. Look at the size of them now. These are big enough to eat now. The rocket that I put in 3 weeks ago is now just about big enough to eat, and the rocket at the front is what I planted out last week. It's just starting to grow. Some of them are starting to flower already. And the strawberries, lots and lots of little strawberries on these now. Lovely. Flowers are starting to come off now, and the strawberries are starting to form. So we're expecting quite a good crop of strawberries this year as well. So that's week 5. See how we go week 6. I've got a feeling that Ying will have eaten some of the lettuces by next week though. So that area there is about to get decimated probably. Looking good though. Good afternoon people. Week 6 of Lol's Yarden. These are chilies that are coming along slowly but surely. That one's got a bit more growth on than the others. Tomato plants, they're young ones, just doing well. These big ones at the back are really starting to grow. Cucumbers, really coming away now with big leaves. I've put a lot of slug pellets in because the slugs were getting to them, but that stopped that. These bush tomatoes, patio tomatoes, have got so many flowers on. I'm leaving the greenhouse open now so the bees can get in and pollinate them. That was one in there now, hassling me. Your brisha is looking beautiful. I've put some of the tomatoes outside. They are just starting to flower. That one's got quite a few flowers on. Strawberries. More strawberries. More strawberries. They are the baby lettuces that were only been in about 2 weeks. They're coming on well. There's another tomato plant there. The other lettuces, as I thought, Ying has started to eat them. Little tinker Ying. But there's still plenty to eat. And I've got enough rocket to start a colony on Mars. I'm going to have to start cutting the leaves off this shortly because they're all starting to flower. Lovely. The ivy's starting to grow nicely along the wall towards the greenhouse, although it's completely taken the side of the house over. And the strawberries over here have many strawberries. Lots and lots of strawberries. Just starting to green up there now. 1 or 2 bigger ones. I really need to put a bit of bark or something in to keep them off the soil because the slugs get to them as well, although I might put a few slug pellets down there as well. So, doing well. Lots of food. Week 6, over and out. Well, good afternoon. It's Midsummer's Day and it's week 7 in Lol's Yarden. I've brought some of the strawberries in because they're starting to fruit nicely, and the birds are starting to nobble them, and I don't want that. My little chili plants are coming along quite nicely. The mouldy stuff you can see on there is the remnants of the slug pellets, but it's keeping the slugs away, which is good. My tomatoes are doing well now. These ones are still flowering a lot. No sign of any tomatoes on those ones yet that I can see, but I'm sure there will be. This one's the same, starting to grow up the canes. The cucumbers are doing well. I've actually got under here some baby cucumbers, yay! Just starting to grow, and same with this one. They're getting quite big now. This tomato plant, however, has little tomatoes on. Look. Ooh. Ooh, I think these are, this is a bush tomato I think, so it's going to yield lots and lots of little tomatoes. I think we're steaming up there a bit. Oh, Brisha's starting to die off a bit. The strawberries over there are starting to show a bit of fruit. The outside tomatoes are flowering well, although there's no sign of any tomatoes on them yet, but there's loads of flowers which should all be pollinated. And as I thought, I've taken away all the rocket because it was getting too leggy, but the lettuces are doing really well and they're very tasty. We've been having salads all day this week. It's been lovely. Very nice. And the strawberry bed is starting to show signs of life. Oh, there's a big fat juicy red strawberry there. I think I'll eat that one. These ones haven't got so many strawberries on, although there's quite a few. You just can't see them because they're starting to go red. This is the problem. The birds or the insects are getting to the strawberries as soon as they're starting to fruit. So I'm going to have to put a few pellets down here, I think, as well, because there's lots of nice fruit on these, but they're going to get nobbled by the slugs and things. So for week 7, there you go. And it's red hot, 24 degrees today. Phew. Well, this is week 8 of a season in Lowell's Yarden. Things have come along a little bit. The weather's been very strange. We've had lots of sunshine and lots of dull days like today where it's very warm. The chilli plants are slowly growing, not very fast. 1 or 2 of them have wilted a little bit actually. I think I might have overwatered them. Tomato plants are coming on well. This one now has lots of little tomatoes on. They're cherry tomatoes, they're all over the place. This one in the corner is showing signs of flowers but no tomatoes yet. The cucumbers are getting huge, and there's little cucumbers all over the place, look. This one, there's a bigger cucumber there. 1 or 2 flowers starting to show on them. The big cucumbers underneath them. Cucumbers all over the place. There's one there, look. Starting to grow up the trellises. This tomato plant's doing quite well. It's got lots of tomatoes on all over the place. You can't see them so easy because they're green. There's a lot of dead flowers which I'm a bit concerned about. That would suggest that they haven't been pollinated, but there's lots of tomatoes on there. They're all over the place, look. And the strawberry, they're growing well as well. I've picked a lot today. There's quite a few strawberries on here, but they're not quite ripe enough to pick. But everywhere you look there's little strawberries all. This is what's being picked today. Very tasty with a bit of evaporated milk, thank you very much. The outside tomato plants are doing okay. I do have tomatoes on one of them, not that one, and not that one. This cherry tomato has lots of tomatoes on. Just goes to show that putting them outside makes a difference to the pollination with the bees and everything. As for the lettuces, we've eaten quite a few. Some of them are getting quite big now, they need cutting down today. We'll be having salad today, I think. They're growing very, very well, all the different kinds. There's normal lettuces, there's the ones with the crinkly leaves, the pretty little red ones. And they're very tasty when they come straight out of the garden. Nice and crunchy. Better than Aldi. And they're free. I think that one's going to get eaten today. And for week 8, I beg your pardon, that's it. Well guys, it's the 5th of July. We've had some strange old weather which has slowed down the growth of the tomatoes and things. Chilli plants are growing quite well. No sign of any chilies on them yet, but they're coming along slowly but surely. This tomato plant in the corner, I planted slices of plum tomatoes that Ying eats, and we have baby plum tomatoes on it, which is good. These ones at the back of the greenhouse are showing some tomatoes, but they're very, very slow to start compared to some. That one's really, really slow, although it has got some tomatoes just starting. My cucumbers are doing wonderfully well. Look at the size of these now. Look, oh my goodness gracious. And look at the size of that cucumber. There's cucumbers growing everywhere on it. This one the same. That's got little spiky cucumbers on that one. They're growing really well. I'm trying to lead them up the greenhouse to the ceiling. Gonna have to tie that one off, I think. This tomato is doing well. It's got lots and lots of little tomatoes all over it. Cherry tomatoes. Stacks of them. Probably 100 or more in there, I bet. As for the lettuces and things, oh, that outdoor tomato is doing well. Cherry tomato. Hundreds of them on there. Those ones are very, very slow. I think it's because I've got them outside. Although that one has got a couple of bigger tomatoes on. Ying's eaten most of the lettuces. I've helped her. I don't think I'll be planting any more now, because you end up where either too many or not enough. And as for the strawberries, I've just picked a whole load from this bed here. There's still quite a few on there coming on, but not ripe yet. But I've picked a load out today. And here's a picture of them now. So that's it for week 7. I think I'll be concentrating more on the greenhouse now, because it seems that's where all the growth is going on. I might even take those tomatoes in the greenhouse, move things about a bit, keep them warmer. That's what they seem to want. So we'll see you next week. Well, good afternoon, Yardeners. It's week 9 of my 3-month video of my garden. As you can see in the greenhouse, the cherry tomatoes are coming on lovely. There's hundreds on that one. Absolutely loads. And on the other side, I've got the same. Loads and loads of cherry tomatoes. The chilli plants aren't showing any signs of chilies yet. But they are growing quite well. Don't see any sign of flowers or chilies on those yet. That looks like a slightly different one, a bit stronger. This one in the corner is little plum tomatoes. They are starting to grow all over the place. These ones have been a bit slow to come away, although there's a lot of cherry tomatoes on this one. And that one doesn't seem to have any on it at all. That's a bigger plum tomato on that one. I can't even remember planting that one. But my cucumbers are growing about 2 inches a day. I'm trying to train them up the top of the greenhouse, as I am with these side trailers here. I've got a couple of those coming along, all starting to show little fruit. And interestingly, this one has spiky cucumbers on, which I think are mini cucumbers, these ones. There's lots of them all over the place. But I don't know how big they're going to grow. They're not growing very quickly. There's plenty of them. This is my main cucumber. Look at the size of that, man. Wow, that's going to get harvested today, because it'll be nice and sweet. The further up you go, the smaller they get, because obviously the first ones to grow were those ones. Not a lot to show you outside, really. Ying's eaten most of the lettuces. There's still quite a few. She's just been out. Oh, there's Mr. B pollinating something. Still quite a few lettuces growing there, but we've harvested a lot of these as well. The strawberries are just about done. We've picked a lot of strawberries off in the last few days. There's still a few showing on there, but there's a lot of weeds and that's starting to grow in here as well. Oh, there's a nice strawberry there just coming through. There's another one. It's hard to keep on top of them when they're all over the place. There's a couple of nice ones there as well. Look. Lovely. I know where that's going. Delicious. So that's it for week 9. Greenhouse is looking good. Oh, there's Mr. B going in to pollinate some cucumbers and things. He's straight into... That's exactly what I wanted. There you go. Leave the greenhouse open. And Mr. B is straight in there pollinating. Very good. Thank you, Mr. Bumblebee. See you again soon. Go to a female flower now and pollinate that. So see you soon. Bye for now. Well, this is week 11 in the greenhouse. It's now the 19th of July. As you can see, some of the tomatoes are starting to ripen, which is good because they're starting to get a bit heavy. The chilli plants are growing well, and I'm not sure if there are signs of little chilies starting to grow. Yes, there's 1 or 2 little chili peppers on that one. And that one. Just starting to flower. These plum tomatoes are coming along quite well. These ones are plenty of tomatoes, but they're a little bit slow to grow. As is this one, which is absolutely covered in tomatoes, and they're just starting to ripen now. My cucumbers though, look at the size of that one. And there's my hand, that's 10 inches long. And then there's that one's a bit curly. There's a few more growing up the stems. I'm trying to grow it across the roof, as I am with this one, which has lots of little prickly cucumbers on. That one's starting to get a bit bigger. That's about 3 inches long now. They're very prickly, and it seems that the prickles grow out of them. From the stem down, the prickles seem to grow out. So I'm growing both of these up as far as I can. Get the tendrils to get a hold of the strings and everything. Nothing to show you outside apart from the fact it's absolutely chucking it down with rain. Well, there's a big plum tomato in there, look. Ooh, nice. Yeah, outside it's chucking it down, so I'm not going to film outside today. So it's taken 11 weeks to get to this point, and I'm sort of quite pleased with the progress. And I shall go now until the 12th week. Goodbye. Actually, just before I go, the outside tomatoes after 11 weeks, plum tomatoes, are starting to show a few tomatoes, which is good. They've been a lot slower to germinate outside because it's cool. They are normal tomatoes. There's quite a few on there as well. So it is happening. It's a learning curve. Well guys, this is week 12 in Lol's Yarden. As you can see, the cherry tomatoes are starting to ripen up a little bit there. The chilli plants are starting to come on a treat. And there's 1 or 2 just showing signs of flowers and little chilies. There's one actually flowered there, so there will be some chilies on those shortly. That one still isn't, but it's a bigger plant and I don't know what breed it is. The cherry plum tomatoes are coming on quite well. A couple of nice batches there, as are these cherry tomatoes here. That one in the corner is still a bit slow to produce a lot of fruit. This one, these are like big cherry tomatoes. You know, look at the size of that. These are big. There's quite a few on there. And this one is starting to get a bit top heavy. But the fruit's just starting to ripen on that as well, which is nice. As for the cucumbers, I mean, look at the size of that, man. Ying's going to eat that for a dinner. And the rest of them are, I don't know what's gone wrong with some of these. They've kind of withered. Withered. And yet there's new cucumbers forming. I can only think that that is a problem with fertilisation. The spiky cucumbers, on the other hand, there's a few of them at the bottom have withered, but other ones are coming up really big. You know, that one's about 5 inches long now. These ones look like they've all been pollinated okay. Certain ones are good, doing okay, and other ones aren't, so I don't know quite what the answer is to that. They're growing well now across the ceiling of the greenhouse. That one's nearly up to the middle. That one's well on its way. I need to tie that one up a bit. Quite a few flowers on them, which I've let the bees in to pollinate. Not a lot to show you outside apart from this cherry plum tomato, which is still doing quite well considering it's outside. This is just a try really, and this is just a normal tomato plant, and it seems to be doing quite alright as well, although a little bit slow to ripen. That one hasn't done very much at all. Still a few lettuces to eat before the season's over, but that's it for week 12. Still a couple of weeks to go, I think, before the season's over. Well, it's week 13 now in Lol's Yarden, and as you can see, as time goes on, the tomato plants and things are starting to look a bit sickly, but I'm getting a lot of tomatoes off them. The chilies are just starting to show signs of flowering very late and grown chilies. We have plum tomatoes starting to ripen over there, which is interesting. One or two of these tomatoes at the back are starting to show some bigger fruit. That one's got lots of fruit on, bigger tomatoes, but not ripening yet. As is this one, which I'll pick all these tomatoes off today. There's lots and lots of nice juicy little tomatoes on there. The cucumbers, the main cucumber isn't doing a lot apart from growing along the roof. Lots of flowers and little cucumbers on there, but not really showing a lot of new fruit. Where this one, as you can see, this is my little spiky cucumber. I mean, that's going to get cut off today. This one's getting quite big. There's lots and lots of other cucumbers on here, growing as we go. I'm growing this one above the roof, and as you can see, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, now there's 10 cucumbers just there hanging off the roof. Said he's a fly flew in his mouth. But these big plum tomatoes here aren't ripening yet, but they will, I'm sure, ripen very shortly. Now, I'm not going outside because it's tipping it down with rain. And that's it for week 13. These videos get shorter and shorter as the year goes on, but I'm sure we'll still have something to report for next week. Bye for now. Well, it's the 9th of August and getting towards the end of the season. The peppers are starting to show signs of flowers, which I would assume would turn into peppers eventually, chilies. Oh, that one looks like it needs a bit of water. The plum tomatoes are starting to ripen up on there. I've picked most of the tomatoes off these other plants now because the cherry tomatoes, we've got loads and loads of them. I brought the big plum tomatoes in out of the garden to see if I can ripen them off in here with a bit more heat. The cucumbers are doing well. There's a whopper, and another whopper, and another whopper. I think I'll have to cut those off today because Ying's making a salad, I think. Apart from that, there's new cucumbers starting to grow on the bits over the roof here. I mean, look at all these little cucumbers everywhere, look. Some of them have shriveled away that haven't been fertilised properly. Strange. But there's still plenty new growth. Still plenty new ones growing. So I think we're probably about a couple of weeks away from finishing the season. But hopefully these will ripen up into some nice big plum tomatoes. I'm looking forward to seeing what they're like, because I like plum tomatoes, very tasty. And there's next to nothing left to pick on the other tomato plants now. So that's it for August the 9th. What's that, week 14? I believe so. Not many weeks left now, unfortunately, till the winter starts. Oh dear. Well, hello. It's August 16th today, and this is probably about the third last one I'll be doing. As you can see, the tomatoes are just about done now. We've picked hundreds and hundreds. This has got lots of little tomatoes on, but they are very small. The chilli plants though are starting to fruit. There you go. See some chilies there. There's a big chilli there. Lots of flowers on them. A few chilies on that one. That one at the end hasn't shown any signs yet. The plum tomatoes are starting to ripen in the corner. These tomatoes are just getting out of hand. They're hanging down all over the place. Still not ripened yet. That one's got not a sign of a tomato. Oh yes, it has. It's got one little plum tomato up the top there. These big plum tomatoes still aren't ripening. There's plenty of them, but they're all still green. The cucumbers, the ones that are grown across my roof, have got lots and lots of little cucumbers starting to grow. This original plant has got signs of new cucumbers grown on the roof, and also a big one there that's just about ready to pick. The spiky cucumbers, oh my god, this one's gonna have to be picked. That's massive. I'm gonna chop that one off for you to eat. There's another one coming on the end here, and so the cucumbers are still doing quite well, really. Starting to take the greenhouse over. Actually, everything's starting to take the greenhouse over. But see how we'll go on next week. See how these little cucumbers have grown. Give it another week and I think they'll be about 6 inches long. I bet they grow very, very quickly. But that's it for week 14, I think. Hopefully we'll have some chilies by next week as well. Lovely. Well, week 15 in Lol's Yarden. See how things are going. We've got a few chilies starting to grow on these chili plants now. Bit slow. Oh, a couple of big ones on there. Oh, a really big one on there, look. Oh. And that one's starting to look a bit sad. There's no chilies on it. It needed a bit of water, I think. The cherry tomatoes, I've just picked a few off. There's not a lot left to go. Everything's very slow to grow now. I've picked the majority of the tomatoes off this morning that are ripe, which are there, all sizes. Got plum tomatoes, bigger tomatoes, cherry tomatoes, got everything there. These big plum tomatoes still aren't ripening. There's loads of them, but they're just not ripening. They're all still green, which is very strange. Not one of them gone ripe yet. That big tomato plant in the corner is looking quite healthy. but it's only got one tomato on for some reason. The cucumbers, this cucumber plant that has the shiny ones is starting to show signs of some new little cucumbers on the end there. Trying to train that over the roof. This one with the spiky ones has got some big spiky ones growing. There's a big fat one there. These ones at the end have all gone a bit wizened, obviously weren't pollinated. But there's one that needs picking today. There you go. A spiky one. That's a big fat one. You're going to be having that with a salad today, I think. Don't think there's any others hiding behind here. No, sometimes they're hard to see behind the leaves. Quite a few extra little cucumbers growing on that one still though, for all it's late. But the tomato plants and everything are just about at the end of their life now. I've picked nearly every tomato off that we can. And I think next week will probably be the last week that'll have been 4 months that I've shown you on video of what's been grown in my greenhouse. I might put these cherry tomatoes up a height so they get a bit more sunshine. That might help to ripen them off. I hope so anyway. But we'll see you next week and see what's happened. Well, I believe this is week 17. Week 17 in Lol's Yarden. These tomatoes are just starting to ripen on this side. And these ones over here have started to go all bunny colours since I put them up on that shelf. The chilies are doing quite well. There's some whopper chilies on there now. Ooh, look at the size of those ones. I was expecting them to go green, but red, but I don't know whether they will or not. The plum tomatoes are definitely ready for picking today. I've got lots of nice little plum tomatoes there. I'll get those picked today. These tomato plants have just about had it now. There's a small cucumber growing there and several new ones on the top. And the spiky ones, that one will be getting picked today. There's another one growing there on the ceiling. Two actually. There they go. I still don't know why they're spiky. But I think maybe another couple of weeks and that'll be it. Because everything's just about to fizzle out, I think. So 17 weeks. And this is probably last but one video I'll be making of my season in the Yarden. So I hope you've enjoyed it up to now. We'll see you next week for the last instalment. Bye. Well guys, this is my final instalment of a few months in Lol's Yarden. As you can see, I've picked most of these plum tomatoes now. Not many left. Ying's picked a lot of chilies. There's still quite a few grown on here though, green chilies. We did expect them to go red, but they're obviously green chilies, not red chilies. This tomato plant at the back has got a lot of nice big ripe tomatoes on that I'll be picking today to get rid of them. The cucumbers, there's still one or two spiky ones grown here off the roof. Some new ones just starting to form. It's still growing across the roof here. I did pick a big one yesterday. Here it is. And I'm about to pick this one now because it's huge. Yes, you can have that one today for a tea. And there's quite a few new cucumbers grown off this across the roof as well. But that's it. Is this week 17 or 18? I don't know. I've had about 4 months worth of Lol's Yarden now. It's red hot today. I'm coming out of the greenhouse. So I hope you've enjoyed this little video. It's a little bit different to what I normally do, but just thought it would be interesting even for myself. Nostalgia, just to look back and see how things grow and how quick they grow. So we'll see you next time, where it will be a fishing video, not a gardening video. Bye for now.